según Bartolomé de las Casas, we have several ethnicities. Los Macorix, los Ciguayos, los Siboneyes. They mentioned the Caribs. However, the Caribs were actually invaders of the island. They were invading on this side. They did not actually live on the island. They were from the Lesser Antilles, which are the islands that are down this way, while in the Upper Antilles, we have los Taínos mostly. So these ethnicities lived under the Taino political setup. However, they had their own cultures, they had their own language, and so there were minimum 3 languages on the island. But the Taino language was the main one that everybody understood. So for example, here in the US, there's tons of languages, but everybody, give or take, should know English. So let's talk a little bit about some of these ethnicities. So if you see on the map, there's many different ethnicities that were located in the region of the soon-to-be Spanish colonies. And one of them was los Macorices. So we have San Pedro de Macorís, San Francisco de Macorís still on the island. And the term Macorís actually means those who are not from here. In other words, the foreigners. So they lived closer to the northeastern upper side of the island. They had their own language, which Ramon Pané, he only knew their language. And so when he was sent out to live with the Taínos, he was like, I don't know how to speak their language. And he was told, well, you better learn. We also have the Siboneyes, who were also in Cuba, and they lived mostly in caves. They didn't cultivate the land. They simply collected what they could. They also lived in Jaragua, which is in this area, which is now part of Haiti. The Ciguayos were another ethnic group because, as I said in the previous video, the Taínos were actually composed of many ethnic groups. And one of the research papers I read by Jorge Esteves, he did a research paper talking about the origin of the name Taino. And the conclusion is that we can use the term, it is okay. However, it isn't what they were actually called. They recognized that they were all from different cultural backgrounds, or again, ethnicities, and they identified in different ways. However, we don't know what they were called collectively on their own terms. We only have what others have said. So for now, we're going to continue identifying some of the ethnicities under the Taino kingdom. Or better said, political structure, because it wasn't actually kingdoms.